My 2-month-old. I can't sleep daddy. I'm afraid of Frankenstein. Me. Haha, don't you mean Frankenstein's monster? My 3-month-old. I do not. Personally, I find unethical and irresponsible scientific practice far more terrifying than any physical being, and so should you. Why did the kid wait a whole month to respond? Reading a thesaurus. Hey, I'm a little sad. Would anyone distract me with whatever? Here is a hamster dancing for ya. Thought he haven't started dancing yet. No move is needed to feel his passion. His moves and passion has exceeded my expectations. ND now is tired and needs to lay down. B flat. He hoped you enjoyed the show. Thank you, lol guy. Speaking of garlic, are you one of these people who puts a clothespin on the end of your nose at the very mention of it? If so, go back to your mutton and cold boiled potatoes. Eat your limp lettuce and tomato salad, and may you pass to a hereafter where ambrosia is made out of distilled water and carrot juice. Garlic is a flavoring for the gods, and it is treason to say that a little of it goes a long way. Arizona Republic, Phoenix, September 20th, 1942. Glad to see that absolutely fking nothing has changed since September 20th, 1942. Me before Untitled Goose. No, I can't be mean in video games. It makes me feel bad. Me now. Honk honk motherfucker. Where's your god now? One of the hardest things to learn as a depressed former gifted kid is that half-assed is better than nothing. Take the 50%, 40%, even 20% job. Scrubbing your face is better than not taking a shower at all. Picking up your clothes is better than never cleaning. Nibbling on some bread is better than starving. Do things halfway. Now you're 100% better off than you were before. One of my college professors used to say, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. I didn't understand that for years, because I didn't do anything poorly. I couldn't do anything poorly. I had to do everything perfectly. But brushing your teeth for 30 seconds is better than not brushing them at all. When that 2 minutes seems exhausting. Doing 10 minutes of yoga is better than 10 minutes of sitting. When 30 minutes of cardio sounds impossible. Changing my clothes is good when a whole shower is impossible. Standing on the porch for a few minutes is worth it after being in the house for 3 straight days because I don't have the energy to go anywhere. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly because doing it poorly is better than not doing it. Rock stations be like, we only do 3 things here: drink beer, watch sports, and play the hardest rock in the whole world. And if you don't like it, you can pull that tampon out of your vagina, you girl. Plays Thunder by Imagine Dragons. Till astronaut Jack Schmidt discovered he was allergic to moon dust, which is a thing millions of other people have probably gone their whole lives never knowing. Imagine being one of only 12 guys ever to have the honor of walking on the moon, and then when you get there you're allergic to it. A deer. A female deer. I have a feeling half of the Simpsons cast wanted to make this joke for so long. If you guys are ever worried people don't buy me enough Bath and Body Works lotion, I just want you to know you can rest easy because it's the only present I ever get and I don't know what to do anymore. I can't keep living like this. I don't have enough skin. The cops beat down the door, trying to arrest me for operating an illegal Bath and Body Works Rezzler, but I'm just so fking silky smooth that they can't catch me. Okay, so Norway is like such an odd country, cause like, listen to this. Norwegians consume 9% of all Pepsi Maximum produced. Norwegians eat the second most tacos in the world, just after Mexico. Norwegians drink the second most coffee in the world, just after USA. Norwegians read the second most comic books in the world, just after Japan. There are only 5 million people in Norway, and apparently they are having an amazing time. Small, wild, boneless. 3 words that describe me. Are you a worm? Long, wiggly and ready to get squiggly. tell me something nice. Hit me with those positive vibes. The earliest recorded named cat lived over 3,000 years ago in Egypt and was called Nejum, which means sweetie. He making big steppy. They say it's a mystery how the pyramids were built, but I reckon they just started at the bottom and worked their way up. Let's face it, this looks a lot more difficult. I've been crying laughing over this for the past 5 minutes. This honestly reminds me of a show on the History Channel, where they spent like 25 minutes wondering how the sides of all the pyramids seemed to be perfectly divisible by pi or something, and people were theorizing about aliens and some lost form of mathematics. But then, at the end, they interviewed a tired looking paleontologist, and he was just like, maybe they just used a wheel to do all their measurements. And the whole show just immediately collapsed. Can you imagine being so far up your own ass with conspiracy theories that you forget about circles? If you have $1,000 in cash and spend 1 penny, that's the equivalent of Jeff Bezos spending $1.5 million. Verse 1. David Diggs. Where is the guillotine? Character who doesn't need glasses. Character who does without. Actually, the best character designs are the ones like this. If you wear glasses though, this is exactly what it feels like. What if at the end of your long life, after you've drawn your last breath and phased out of reality, the next thing you see is this message: you can now play as Luigi. Problem: I honestly can't tell whether this food is oversauced or undercooked. Solution: oh well, I'll just pop it back into the oven for another 10 minutes. There's at least a 50/50 chance that'll fix it, right? Result: food has somehow become unpleasantly soggy and unpleasantly crunchy at the exact same time. No better time than this to pull out my favorite word, slunchy. Put it away. Thinking about that Fallout 76 ad, where like 9 people stand around and watch a ground burst nuke go off like it's a pretty firework is like genuinely upsetting. Not only can I not think of any worse way to reflect the themes of the series, with the opening of Fallout specifying that World War III only lasted an hour, and with it destroyed almost all life on the planet at the hands of nuclear weapons, but it's also just an irreverent and frankly dangerous way to discuss the most horrible weapons mankind has ever made. It would be different if it were actually some kind of satire, some kind of distinct point being made, but it's literally just, look, nukes cool, and it's more a reinvigoration of the Cold War's nuclear obsession than it is an indictment of it. New Vegas ends with player traveling the divide to meet a man that will damn the player for their actions and uses the old world's sins, its nuclear firepower. The player is then given option to nuke a location, with the implication being that to do so is morally unjust and disgusting. The moral high ground, however, requires great sacrifice and gives weight to the player's choice for proper good to disable the nukes entirely. The word Ulysses leaves parallels a series' iconic phrase, war never changes, by saying people must change, because to repeat the sins of the past is to doom us to eternal nuclear disaster. Fallout 76. Players set off 3 nuclear explosions to fight irradiated Skyrim dragons. Country roads take me home. Hosier complimented a guy's dungarees at his charity gig last night, and the guy stripped and handed them over. Sounds about right. I will use these powers for evil. Why is he like this? I keep warning y'all, Hosier is a siren, but none of you are listening. I love the use of the comma here. Pants cat. Finally, a cat with some decency. Hash, that is a panda topaz cat. Hash, it makes their pupils red like that for some reason. Nobody looks at you in California. You could be bouncing around nude on a pogo stick, and people will be like, continue on your journey, namaste. You wear like a weird pair of shoes in Boston, and you will be fed to the dropkick Murphys. If you're straight, then why did you say she was hot? Yo, I'm straight, not blind. One time a nan at my school saw a hot guy and said, wow, God did a nice job on that one, and we all looked at her like, and she goes, I'm allowed to look at the menu, I just can't order.
you.